Everyone, the iPhone 13s have been out for a while, and so has the iPhone XR. So let's go and do a speed comparison between both these devices. Now, I've done already a kind of small comparison, but this one is going to be a full speed one. Now, the iPhone 13 is on the left, the iPhone XR is on the right. The iPhone 13 has that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM. The iPhone XR has that Apple A12 Bionic chip inside of it with 3 gigabytes of RAM. So let's get into it. Let's do phone calls 3, 2, 1. I think the 13 was a little bit faster, but they were on two different panels. Music, 3, 2, 1. And it looks like this one got into this panel faster, but we did get into a little bit of a different panel on both. So I'll probably say maybe the 13 was faster, but the 10R was able to get there faster. Let's go and click on this one, for example. And 13 was able to load that one up faster, at least a little prompt. Let's go and get into their app stores, 3, 2, 1. And again, the 13 is the faster one here. And if we just kind of scroll through, I definitely do get a smoother vibe from the iPhone 13, and I kind of did get into the bottom a little bit faster there as well. Now I do kind of want to load up some, sample applications. So if we go and scroll here, we click here, we click here. So if we go and click on Secret Neighbor, we go and click Get. Let's go and see if we can install it without having to type in our password, and let's just see how long it takes on one of them to install. So I want to say the iPhone 13 is going to be the faster one, and I really do hope it's not a massive game, because if it is, then I'm just going to skip forward. So it does look like it's a pretty big game, so I'm just going to go and click stop, but it did look like the iPhone XR was a little bit ahead right there. So let's go and get out of this one. Let's go and get into the next one, which could be like camera. 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 13 was ahead a little bit. Now I do want to take a photo in night mode to see which one is faster. 3, 2, 1. For some reason I didn't want to take it here, so it was 5 seconds here. And we did actually take a photo here, but for some reason it didn't really load up fine, which was weird. So you can see even here it was a little bit better on the iPhone 13, a little bit. Hopping out of this one, let's go and get into photos, 3, 2, 1. Pretty much the same thing here too. Hopping out of this one, let's do mail, 3, 2, 1. And the 13 again was a faster one here. And even in terms of the smoothest in terms of gestures, very, very similar. I don't really see that big of a difference here, not that much stuttering on either one of these devices. Settings, 3, 2, 1. Pretty much the same thing, although the 13 was a little bit faster. Hopping out of this one, now we can go and get into some of these third-party applications, and I do have a lot of them, so let's get into it. Let's do Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. 13 was faster, 10 are a little bit behind. Dropbox, 3, 2, 1. 13 again was a faster one. Hopping out of this one, let's go and get into something like SoundCloud, which I do not have here. So we'll go into Temple Run 1, 3, 2, 1. And we may be on different panels, but we'll just wait to see how long it gets out of this specific loading panel. And the 13 was a little bit faster. We did eventually get into it on the iPhone XR, so not that much of a difference yet. I haven't really seen too many big differences. Let's do Facebook, which I don't even have here, which is very weird. Which I also, I guess, don't have here, which doesn't make any sense. Well, we do have Facebook, 3, 2, 1. 13 was faster, 10 are a little bit behind. Twitter, 3, 2, 1. And even with the shortcuts, it's faster on the iPhone 13, which is very interesting. Let's do Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. And the 13 was the faster one here. The iPhone XR was just a little bit behind. So again, not a crazy big difference, but a little bit behind in terms of just opening up the application. Let's do Stack, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 13 was faster again. iPhone XR a little bit behind, getting into some gameplay. For some reason, the iPhone 13 XR got stuck in an ad, and then that one kind of got stuck too, so we'll just kind of scroll out of this one. Let's go and do Thank You, 3, 2, 1. That 13 is faster there, and the iPhone XR a little bit behind, so we're seeing a little bit of difference. I really don't think it's like a crazy big one. I mean, there's like 3 years of difference between these phones, and I'm not really getting the vibe that there's like that big of a difference. Snake vs. Blocks, 3, 2, 1. And the 13 was faster there. iPhone XR a little bit behind, again, not a big difference by any means. Getting into some gameplay, I don't really think there's going to be that big of a difference here either. So we can go and hop out of this one. And it is getting kind of dark now, which is kind of unfortunate. Let's do Netflix, 3, 2, 1. 13 is faster, 10 are a bit behind. Let's go and do Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And it does look like the iPhone 13 is a little bit faster here. I mean, the XR is noticeably behind for some of these games. Now, one of them may have been stuck on loading content or downloading content. That's one thing I've seen with this game over and over again, but in this specific case, I mean, there's nothing we can really do. But it was much faster on the iPhone 13 for sure. So let's hop out of this one. We can try Real Racing 3, 3, 2, 1. I'm not too sure if there's going to be a glitch or if we have to download something on one or the other, but we'll just kind of see what happens when we load them up. And we did get into a little prompt here, but I kind of went away from it. Where the 13 didn't have. Okay, so the 13 is fully loaded right now. The iPhone XR is still behind. Totally okay. You know, like I said, we're expecting the XR to be slower. I would be more surprised if the 13 was slower than the XR. So quite a bit of a difference already, which is pretty crazy. And we finally get into the next panel on the iPhone XR. So we are definitely getting a much faster phone, it looks like, on the iPhone 13 for these bigger intensive games, especially for load times. These are both on iOS 15.2 and they're both pretty much in the same caliber, same battery health, same, not the same, but you know, still over 90% on the iPhone XR. So that's a pretty big difference, to be honest. Now, hopping out of it, it was glitchy on both. I thought it was only one. So now that we have all these apps loaded in the background, let's go and start loading them up again. So let's go back to the first application. Again, you're getting an extra gigabyte of RAM on the iPhone 13. So let's load up this one. So they both were able to keep that one in the background, which is really, really good to see. So let's go back in the beginning and let's do music. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so they both kind of glitched up and they both kind of had the same issues. So let's go and hop out of this one. Let's go back into the App Store. So let's do 3, 2, 1. And you can see the iPhone XR did restart that game, where the iPhone 13 actually was able to keep that in the background. So this is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm hoping that the iPhone XR is slower, or at least, you know, I'm hoping the 13 is faster. I'm hoping that the iPhone XR isn't a slow device, but I really hope that's not the case. So now if we go and open up our cameras, it's kind of the same thing. So not that big of a difference here. So if we go back in the beginning once more, we can go and click on photos. Pretty much the same thing, so not a difference here. Let's go back once more. We can try mail here. So mail is open on 13. Let's try mail here. And it does open on both. So now when we get into the game, so let me just skip forward to the first game, so Temple Run 2. And this is where things are going to probably start changing up a lot. So if we go and load up Temple Run 1, you can see they both restarted. These games are bigger than most other applications, and because of that, every single time you're going to open up a game, you're pretty much going to have a lot of problems when it comes down to the RAM. And that's a big thing, you know, for when the less RAM that you have, the less likely some of these big apps are going to be maintaining in the background. So now if we go and do something like this, 3, 2, 1, again, they both restart. So really between 1 gigabyte of RAM, you're really not going to see that big of a difference. It's not until you go to something like a 13 Pro or 13 Pro Max that has way more RAM, or at least 50% more RAM than this one. That's when you're going to start seeing some bigger differences. And in my experience with these games, it really doesn't matter if you're comparing an iPhone 12 or an iPhone like 10 to an iPhone 13. You're going to be getting about the same type of RAM management. And this is pretty much what I'll tell you in the easiest way to sum up this comparison. The iPhone 13 for sure is the faster one. It has way more capability, has better performance, has pretty much everything you'd ever want from a phone. It's extremely fast. I had very few things to complain about with it, but it isn't as crazy of a faster device than the XR. It's definitely faster, but it's really not a big difference. Like if you have an iPhone XR, I wouldn't necessarily go to a 13, but I would highly go to a 13 Pro. That phone has a lot better performance. It's about the same speed, but it has better RAM management. You are getting a faster phone from the 13 for sure, and you saw that Real Racing 3. That thing was able to load up so much faster on the 13. The XR I still think is a pretty good phone. You know, I think it still has a lot of capability. It's definitely not slow. I think the 13 is definitely worth the money. If you're in the market, I would recommend going to the 13. You can't really go wrong with the XR, but I would definitely tell you the 13 is a better way to go, but the 13 Pro is the best way to go in my humble opinion. So in terms of that pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.